Greetings everyone, hello and welcome back once again to Frostpunk 2. How very good of you to join. I'm glad you're still sticking around. It's week 56 for Sleepy Hollow and so far the city's doing well, but we have a few pressing issues. I also want to thank AMD and 11-bit Studios for sponsoring this video by providing me a game key. And also if you're interested in Frostpunk 2, don't forget to check out the link in the description and also participate in the Radeon XT graphic GPU giveaway. Now in this case here we have now everything set up really in the baseline here. We have a new law that we can regulate. In this case here, regulate a childhood. That is my promise that we had, and boy, we should do this quickly because we have a lot of pressing issues. One of them of course is my food that is now, after all this time, finally running out. In 2 weeks we're out of food officially, so we do need to tackle this one as well. In 1 week, oh sorry, the council is in recess right now, so the cooldown is off, but it still takes 1 week for the council to come back again from their break and from the vacations there from the steamy area that we have. Now it doesn't matter, we can jump right into the world map because on the world map we have this food deposit there with the 110 food, right? We've been saving on this now. The reason for that is of course that I was using that time to scout a bit more because every minute counts, and now we can finally use 5 Frostland teams here to start harvesting that food here. That's going to give me the 110 food that we can then use. In addition, we have 5 more Frostland teams and I can use them to, for example, also take one of these cores here back home again. So that's one of those steam cores that we need for very special buildings and upgrades. Now the other thing is we cannot produce this ourselves. The other thing is over here in this territory we have found a few more points of interest. Trapped survivors there are. If I had 10 Frostland teams we could actually rescue them, so I'm going to come back later. Also, we got a Galician refinery here. The open flames of welding equipment can be seen, and we could repair this one or take it by force or come back later, because right now we cannot do anything with that. Oh, and this is interesting. Here we got the refinery, a settlement, a potential one. In this case here, we can actually trade with them. We can form an alliance with these guys, and we can also help them out in addition, right? So that's an actual settlement down there, right, that we can interact with then as well later down the road. And we can also of course create our own settlements at some point, but that's a bit out of the question for now. So there is a few points of interest that are going to be important for us in the future. And in this case here, we still have now the food coming in, right? There you go. With that, it's looking a bit better again, right? So we got another 20 weeks of food stockpile with that, as we are down to -10 now only. This gives me ample of time to build then also my food district, right? So we have this one here, and we have a production of the prefab still going, so this should all work out in our favor. Getting a few more heat stamps in is probably important. I might be thinking about also raising the funds again, so the cooldown there is running out soon for the 200 heat stamps we get out of this. We'll just see. We are going to keep this option available there to us at all times. Now hospital has been researched and finally we can go ahead with a new law, and we have actually 2 promises here, right? The childhood and the funerals. Let's start with the childhood. There we have 2 options available. The family apprenticeship. This would be very much appreciated by the lords. All children must work alongside one of their relatives so that they learn their trade and continue the family tradition. We actually get more workers out of this. Mandatory school. The guarantee that all children have the skills and knowledge needed in the city. We will establish a mandatory school program supported by the city. This increases my research speed, and it also costs me a bit though, right? Because we need to provide a school. Heat stamp upkeep per capita is slightly decreased. I'm very much inclined to go with this. Not really because of the bonuses, because in my idea a mandatory school is important for the kids. And in this case here, we face some opposition though, right? There's only 16 people in favor of this. So let's just have a look who would join us for this. The foragers are usually a good bunch, so we'll just see what they can do here. They would like to get the durable goods. So the goods demand in general is reduced, which is not bad, right? But the machinists will not like this a lot. Yeah, the problem is both of them have very bad promises this time around, so terms. In this case here, the weather adjusted shift would be something. We could also go for the durable goods, as this is, yeah, it's not going to be super nice for the machinists, but in this case here, we profit from this law, right? And 44 are positive for this, so we can finally go for the vote. There you go. And with that, we can fulfill that promise here, raise our trust there a bit, and we have now once again right away then also ceremonial funerals there. Durable goods is another law that we need to go with. We have a cooldown for the laws of 9 weeks now, so yeah, we have a queue, right? And in this case here, 9 weeks we have the promise to lords, and after another 9 weeks we can go for the promise of forage. I just should not forget about the cooldown there, otherwise we might fail at those promises. We finished the hospital, so for the researching, we can go for a few other things now. And yeah, the thing here is, so in that case, the goods, the resources, we haven't finished the factories, the sawmill, the worker shift. The hothouses I don't really need to worry about right now because we got the food supply from outside. Then we have still the Frostlands that we can focus on, but my go-to here in all of this, there's also the youth. That's not a promise at the moment, that we focus a bit on heating because it's getting colder over time, right? So we're getting another temperature drop soon, then it rises again, but then it will go down further. And that means we need to find some other ways of producing heat, and one of them will be oil, because we have oil on this map, and we will also need to upgrade our generator. So I think those two will be fantastic for us. And we got the hydraulic pump check. That is actually something with not with the highest output. No, the highest output has the machinists. Also the lowest workforce requirement. However, it needs the highest materials. I rather like to go for lower material upkeep, right? So let's go with this by the foragers. They will like this a bit more. We push their agenda there a bit, and they will like us even further. We want them to endorse us, right? Endorsement is the highest form they can reach with us, and once this is available, we can actually get a permanent trust bonus by them, and also they will protest for us to aid our cause. So that is something I would like to aim for here. Now, in this case, do we have enough prefabs now for my extraction district? Because we're still lacking the food there, and I'm really a bit worried at this point because we are a bit too slow with the production. 150 prefabs. No, we can actually... Oh, sorry. The food needs 200. Of course, right? The food district is one of the most expensive ones in the district area. So this will be not good for us. We need prefabs. We need more of them. Outsiders. Stuart, it seems some of our citizens are profiteering from outsiders trying to get into the city. We called smugglers with a freezing and disoriented group of people. When warned, fed and questioned, they spoke of the grim reputation our city has among the survivors in the area. It's the only generator there is, but we've heard stories of what some of the guides to do with trying to get in. After what happened to us, the rumors seem true. Alright, we need to set the law there at some point for the outsiders. That's another one. Oh yeah, we have a queue. 3 laws we need to regulate very soon. And we should not miss out on any of them. Now we got the Frostland teams again. We have finished another exploration. Coal, very good. A coal mining complex. This would boost my coal output. And here we have 25,000 food stockpile. The tattered remains of an expedition camp. The tents are marked with insignia our scouts didn't recognize. 2 cross-curved knives, tracks from several directions converge on the camp, but they all departed together. Whoever these strangers were, they left behind several sledges packed with sacks of countless slendered grains. We're going to take this one, of course. 25,000 is massive, and it's going to help us out. And we still have 10 more Frostland teams available. With this, we could actually now get people from the settlement to us. This would be another 1,200 people joining us. We could help repair this. I'll come back later. We could also repair... Oh, this cost me prefabs. And this also cost me prefabs. And I really don't want to spend more prefabs. So with those 10 people, should we scout or should we take the coal in? There would be more over here. I'm looking for more sources of oil, right? There's something here. It's not oil though. And it seems to me... there's food, okay. This is really far away though, which will make the whole thing difficult. There would be oil here. Let's go for this expedition. And we have found a source of oil. Where? There was no other expedition finished, right? I mean, we know that there is a source of oil over here. And by the way, once I have enough heat stamps again, we should really focus on that as well. And since we do get now all that food in. 25,000 is massive and will help us out for quite some time. I can actually go for the treated sawmill now. This gives me another 170 materials, right? So let's build this one with the prefabs and the money we have instead of the food district. Great stuff, really. And coal-wise, we're also actually fine. So what we can do is we could stockpile a lot of coal now with those deposits here that we have. And that might also be an option. We'll just see how it continues there. Alright, this is all fine. The goods production is still something we need to tackle, so the salvaging factory would be something. We would need more heat stamps for this though. But once we have them... You know what? Let's actually raise the funds again from the foragers. I'm sorry, guys. We're going to fulfill one of the promises anyway, right? And then they will love us again. Because with this, we can get the salvaging factory in that produces prefabs and goods in addition. So this is a massive bonus to my economy. And since we don't need food for a while, worry about food for a while, we can just really focus on these branches of my economy. Okay, one more week, then we can pass the next law. Yeah, this is getting tight. I think we will actually break one of these promises there. It's too many. Might be. We'll just see. That's a lord promise. I can probably go get rid of the lords there. The foragers is important that we keep them on good terms, right? Because they're a very big faction with almost 40% of my community. They're very important to please. Goods factory. With that, we have a goods surplus. Hooray! This is great indeed, right? Because with this, we get now a permanent reputation bonus with all the factions, and also we reduce the crime in the city. So it's diminishing right now because we have finally also goods coming in. Very nice. We can still focus on the prefab production. So we produce 22 prefabs now and goods at the same time. This is why the factory is so important. Materials is fine too, since we have built now the sawmill. So this was also something that is very important here, right? Because those good factories, they consume a lot of materials. Alright, ventures formed in support of paid essentials and mandatory school. We get a new faction. We get the first radical faction, I think. The Ventures. 500 machinists have organized in a faction, meticulous individualists. These enterprising opportunists recruit from those drawn to a good deal, be it social or technological. They dislike the salvaging factory, forged additives and expedition support. So basically 2 of those things we already have. And they're for progress, merit and reason. Also, if we have a good relationship with them, we get the city investment perk, so the heat stamp income is increased. There is another radical faction that is really good, the Technocrats or something similar, that would boost my research output quite a bit. I love them too. Now, this is important. The radical faction, there we have them, the Venturers, right? And they have a so-called fervor progress, right? That's those 3 squares up here. And if the fervor gets up to the maximum, they will go rioting to us, right? So we need to keep them happy because that's one of the troublemaker factions we have. So those are very important to always keep happy and at least have something for them. So therefore reason, there we have it, right? That is also coming together with tradition. So in this case, we should focus a few things on that. The next law, very important. We had the promise to the foragers. That's over here. This is only supported by the foragers though, and I think actually my latest faction is already, yeah, they're against this, right? So they will already be unhappy about this law if we get that in. With the foragers, we're actually on good terms though. So I could go for the outside law. That is also a promise that I had, right? I need to decide on the outside. What do we do with outsiders? We can accept all outsiders, or we only allow the productive outsiders. That's my favorite one here because we get the percentage of active workers increased. The population growth is only marginally increased, not with this one here, it's just increased. And we get a heat stamp income boost out of this one too. So it boosts 3 things for us, and it also allows not too many people in. Also, the adventurers like that. So to get us on good terms with them right away, let's actually go for this. And let's also have a look what the machinists would say. Heat overclocking, research and hold the vote on this. Production efficiency is increased. We could actually go with that. So that would be quite a bit of time though, until we can go for this, but it's fine. So this will be decisive, of course. And with that, we only allow productive outsiders now in, and we're going to make a lot of people happy with that, right? Trust goes up massively, and what we can see is we're actually promoted by the venturers, because they like us so much now with that. And this actually gives me the option here, finance mercenaries, guards, squad output is marginally increased. And we should also have, there it is, an income boost from them. And that's the venturers. They want to steer their ideals closer to the city. The city closer to their ideals. That's the one. Okay, we got 5 more Frostland teams again. I don't have that many options though anymore. This is not this. How much more food do we have here? 60,000. That's okay. There we still have that. We haven't discovered anything new, so it's all fine. In 20% we find a new Frostland. We still have 360 weeks of food now. And since we have a bit of money now, I would actually like to finally start my route towards this oil deposit over there. This is super important that we get this, right? And you can see there's a lot of frost breaking that needs to be done. So at some point we need to start. And let's actually go start here, right? And we can then just move in a straight line all the way down. Also taking this material there with us, right? On our way to this area there. So this is going to take some time. Can I actually... No, I cannot queue in a frost break to a frost break. So we need to wait for this to finish first. Alright, next up we actually finished the hydraulic pump track. There it is. This is important because we're going to need this tag for the oil district then. We have finished the first frost break as well, so let's continue right over here to that oil deposit. And we can also go with the next research. Now we have this promise here to the machinists, the waste heat conversion. And they would like this one here. That's a law. And the excess heat produced by industrial machines will be reinjected back into the machines to allow them to operate at a higher capacity. Production efficiency with that is increased. I like this one for several reasons. So we're going for that. And also the next frost break I would like to do. 1 week, another law. And we still have plenty of weeks left. Oh, promise to the lords. 4 weeks, right? 4 weeks left. Yeah, this will be possible. Let's do the promise to the law, to the lords. The funerals, we don't have a rule set here at the moment, so it's important that we do this anyway. And ceremonial funerals they would like to have. And I'm actually also for harvesting funerals, so the bodies will be harvested first before we actually incinerate them. This of course makes the most sense, right? Everything else wouldn't make much sense. But for starters, we can go with this. We can change it back then once we fulfill the promise. So the trust loss resulting from deaths is decreased by giving them a proper burial. Let's actually vote for this right away. I think we have the majority. Twice as many eyes. There you go.
The delegates have spoken.
Fulfilling this promise gives me another nice trust boost here. And boy, people love us right now. Trust is super fine. We continue all the way up here now towards this oil deposit. And we're closing in on that. Nell Sinkfield, 38, housewife. The lack of law regulating contagion prevention is causing tension. So we also need to find something about that. 14 weeks for the next law and 9 weeks before we can go for the next law. So this is actually all queuing in nicely here. We've also finished the next scouting all the way out here. Was it out here? No. There it is. Oil. Very good. A possible settlement. And this one here is just a landmark. A rocky area with small natural pools filled with hot water from the depths of the earth. Convenient to take a break and scrub off the Frostland grime. Down there. And there is our deposit here. 15 Frostland teams. let's, you know what, let's actually go for stockpiling the coal. Because there's actually the first whiteout coming too, right? The first blizzard. We need to prepare for this, because don't underestimate how much coal you will need for this. To get the 400 coal, I actually need to set up a landway, a path, right? Where people can travel, and this costs me based on the distance that we use here. And we need to connect it with the city. There you go. This takes 4 weeks, 20 prefabs, 100 heat stamps, and 10 Frostland teams to build. The cool thing is though, once it exists, it can be used by other trade routes as well, right? So this is more or less a trade route that we established there. Just along here from this area all the way over to my city. Can I still expand one of my housing districts? I think not. I think we're pretty much at the maximum capacity. We have this one homeless community that I haven't found a solution for yet. Poor souls. Okay, we can actually frostbreak the last patch now to the oil. And I should do this, and I'm actually going to make it so that we can combine it theoretically also with that prefab factory up there if we ever need it. I don't think so, but if we ever need it, we can combine the heat out of that. Temperature drop, temperature increase, and then whiteout. In this case, 50,000 coal will not be enough, so I will also need to provide now the first hub. And there it is, the fuel stockpile. This gives me 50,000 more oil and coal stockpile that we can use. And the cool thing is also the proximity bonus reduces the workforce demand, right? So we can place it here and get the 10% workforce requirement reduction for the zone. Let's build this and get us more. Basically doubling our stockpiles, our storages. Heat overclocking, there it is. The machinist demand has been met. Another promise fulfilled. And next up on the list, very important now, that we start with the generator upgrade. Because this allows then that the generator can run on oil, coal or steam. So we can use it then for oil as well. Right now it can only work on coal. We could also say that it needs to run exclusively on oil, but has increased efficiency. I don't like this so much. So let's go for... I mean, it makes sense because we have an oil deposit on the map, but we don't know what else is out there. So I'm not going to get into this just yet. We can always choose another path later. Okay, so this area would be finished now. So we can build an extraction zone once we have the heat stamps. Oh, really? More people join now? Alright, 1,000 people just joined. Significant growth to our population. Some attribute the rise to an influx of settlers from the Frostlands. Whatever the cause, we have adjusted our calculations of the city's needs. Yes, well, that's food again, of course. So, we're being endorsed by the lords and by the venturers right now, by the way. And the machinists will hopefully give us some money. There you go. We can afford that loss in trust right now, but I need it because we need to do two things here right away. One, of course, is the food district now, and the other one would be housing district then as well. So let's start with the food district. Somewhere over here. Nah, this is not good. Definitely want to get the endless food supply in there as well. And build this one here. Isolated, as it should be with the food district. Housing is allowed next to it though, right? If we build the housing next, we can actually boost both of them. But I'd rather have the housing than here. And I think, yeah, we can actually do the housing district already, so let's do this. I'm always very nervous when building a housing district. It's an expansion that's just very costly overall, right? It costs you workforce, and it costs you heating. And all of this combined is just dangerous. Next law in 3 days, and that's the durable goods then for the foragers. Finally, it's the last requirement here. Oh, that was the heat conversion. Right, right. Production efficiency. That was the research that we finished. We still need to get the law out. The lords would help us out with that, but only the lords. Community action on ventures, condemn them. No. Research and hold the vote of the dutiful youth. Yeah. Young adults participate in volunteering activities under the supervision of elders who teach them moral values. Holy cow, this sounds dangerous. But it is what it is. Recovery hospital is also not bad. We just need to research it, right? We don't need to build it. Yeah, let's go for this. We just need to research that. That's mild, to say the least. And with that, we get this law through. It's very important law, right? Boost the machinists and also gives me actually some production efficiency here. Boy, my material surplus is crazy right now. I might reduce it to save some coal and workforce. Alright, so this morning a house has been found walled off from the rest of its neighborhood. The inhabitants escaped after a while, but they found that local shops and amenities refused to service them. I don't know who did it, but it's for the best. The latest spread of influenza has indeed hit the district hard, and the persistent lack of law regulating contagion prevention is causing tension. Yeah, we could commit to this. It's another promise once again, right? So we queue it in. And we have the recovery hospital that we need to research now. The durable goods comes too late. Time left 29 weeks. Is that right? Because if this is right, what it shows here right now, that we have plenty of time left. Might be also a wrong... It's 3 weeks now, right? Yeah. It's a bit confusing. But it's 3 weeks, so we definitely will fail this. It's bad for the foragers, but it's okay. 5 Frostland teams. Not much I can do with them. Getting the oil is not possible. Getting the stockpile would be possible. Stockpile limit increased. But I would permanently lose those guys, I think. No. I need 10. Right. So it's not possible. Sue Miller, 12 pupil, mandatory school promises a better future for the children of the city. So she likes that. That we did the mandatory school thing. We are also finishing the food district. There it is. With that we have, for the first time ever, a positive food supply. But don't forget, 110 food is imported, right? So we still haven't solved the problem here. Just for now. Housing district. With that we have just this one homeless community again. So I'm actually inclined to just build them another extension. We need to break here though, because then we get the bonus. So that. And we would have everything ready now for that oil pump. And I'm inclined to go with that. There's also the hospital that we haven't built yet. But we don't have that many sick people, right? It's only 28. So that's fine. Let's go for the extraction for the oil. That's really important. We have the workforce for that. It's really far away. And the game then just automatically builds us this connection all the way to the other side. Colder season. Actually, this just halved our coal surplus. Foragers demand failed. Yep, that was to be expected. Took a hit there, but we're still on the highest level there. But just on the lower end of the highest level. Ventures rallies build support. Stuart, the Ventures have started gathering for periodic rallies supporting your rule. They praise you for steering the city on a path to innovative prosperity. That's pretty great, and we can now choose a bonus out of them. So contribute more workforce, contribute the heat stamps, or finance mercenaries for more guards. Since we don't have that much tension right now, guards don't make that much sense. Heat stamp increase is still something that I would like to take. The problem is, if we lose support with them again, we also lose the bonus, right? And if we go for percentage of active workers increased and we lose the bonus later, we might have a trouble with the economy. So rather, for as long as we have the bonus, take the additional money, since we always need money, right? This is another 2 income per week, as long as that rally here holds. An old enemy, Stuart, it was only a matter of time. We had an unusually long streak of mild weather, but now meteorologists are clear there's a familiar drop in air pressure at higher altitudes. A whiteout is coming. The wind will cause extreme cold and clouds will blot out the sun. Without shelter and ample fuel, our people will be at mortal risk. Yes, there it is. The first one will be actually rather short and only a temperature drop by 40 degrees. It would still horrendously affect us. So it's super important that we finish this district here now. There it is. And finally, we're now starting the oil production. So oil stockpile goes up. It's not the end of it though yet, because we still need to build now those extraction things, right? So we have the hydraulic pump check. 400 workforce we don't have right now. But what I can do already is the adaptive pumps. That's super important, because with that, the generator can also use oil. Right now it can't, right? So this is a super important upgrade.
The Venturers would like to remind...
That coal booster we have is super nice, the 400 coal. Menders have formed, oh, and we got the next radical faction, the Menders. They have formed in opposition to the Venturers. And the city is changing. We started a family here, we bore children, we toiled against the hardships. But now these Venturers, they walk around telling people what to do, what to think. They don't like this, they would like to do this themselves. And 700 foragers and lords have organized in a faction. They dislike the allow productive outsider, heat overclocking and machine-centric shifts. Basically, everything that we have right now. 8% of the city support them so far. They seek to pass the durable goods, accept all outsiders and the family apprenticeship. There they are. And since we are a bit negative with them, we already get the first fervor out of them, right? So they're already radicalizing a bit more. The thing is, if I go on very good terms with the foragers, we get this action here to radicalize the Menders. And this will then reduce their fervor. But in this case here, yeah, we need to be happy with them again. On very good terms. We can go with the next law. And we need to research the recovery hospital. That was the promise there as well. Recovery hospital, there it is, right? And the lords agree with this, and the Menders also agree with this. Very good. So that's actually two factions here that we focus with that, and we just need to research it. Don't need to do anything else. And contagion prevention, there it is. Alright, what should we do with the sick? Support quarantine. This will increase my shelter demand quite a bit though. And infectious badge though. People will be required to wear a badge that allows others to limit their interactions with them. The tension goes up with this, but the disease decreases with that. It all comes down to how many more shelters do we need with this. It's just a marginally more. In that case, we can still expand this housing district here. That I would like to do now. For some reasons there's no bonus here, but that's okay. I think because it's already at 0? No. Yeah, with that cold, by the way, all of these housing districts actually have now a pretty high heat demand. So researching the heat reduction for housing is actually also something all of a sudden on my agenda. And Stuart, Menders representatives have come to your office. They warn you that they will take action if you cannot keep the relation at least neutral. Pass the family apprenticeship. Yeah, let's ignore them for now. They will not like this. It's getting difficult here now because I really would like to keep the mandatory school intact, but they don't want this, right? So they will try to push this more often now. And then we have this one here, slightly increased. I would love here an indication of how much more this means. But since the Menders like this, I should probably go for quarantine. Have a look what the foragers would like. Research the charcoal regeneration plant, the composite factory. Yeah, enact the city development effort, that's an easy one. Or we just research a building, chemical hothouse. It's actually something that was on my list as well. Alright, so we can push the food output here. We just need to research it, we don't need to build it. So that's always a very important distinction here. If there says research and build, you need to do both. But just researching it is easy. So let's go with that. So hopefully here, the Menders will like us a bit more. And we have the quarantine. And probably a lot of homelessness now. Oh, yes. Really? Slightly increases? We have negative 20 shelter now. That means I need to build a whole new housing district for this single law. Incredible. I'm already regretting my choices here. Try to get the maximum heat bonus out of that. And we're out of prefabs and out of heat stamps. This was a very bad choice, honestly. But at least the Menders are on better terms again with us. We're going to need this for the whiteout to come. Alright, no more researching for now. Recovery hospital it is. Right, that's a promise. Food is fine. Machines, we actually need to push this. Again, to be positive on machines. On materials. The pump has been finished, by the way, right? So the generator now consumes also oil, and it will always consume oil first and then the coal, right? And we're actually getting full on coal. That means I need to build another hub. And you know what? I'm actually inclined now to get rid of the mandatory school. There's the housing district. Allow the productive outsiders, relax the law. So there is a problem now. There's families waiting outside the city. They want to join because their relatives are in the city now working for us. What should we do with this? Letting relatives in would defeat the entire purpose of selection. We could stay strong and help the ventures there again. But we will need to change this law at some point now. It's so that we're full now on the coal, but we have allowed a few more people in, so we're at 118 workforce again. This allows me to build another fuel hub. Probably here. And that would be pretty much in the way. We could also do it here, right? Or by the extraction zone here. Yeah, let's do it here by the oil. There you go. So we can stockpile a bit more food. We're full there, and 100,000 will not be enough for the whiteout. Based on my experience, we definitely have to work there a bit more. A bit negative on the goods. We could put an emergency shift on this, as we have enough trust, but only a -7 is fine for now. The rallies begin to collapse because my relation with the ventures has deteriorated. Really? Alright. That's a bummer. I was hoping for a bit more support. One more thing we can do, by the way. Yes, we can actually expand the industry zone. Yeah, let's do this. Alright, Menders protests heat overclocking. The Menders have begun a series of protests. They gather around the district's main hub and disable it. They also dislike paid essentials, allow productive outsiders, and mandatory school. Alright. Repeal the heat overclocking. We need to do something here because they disable my districts and we are right in front of a new whiteout, the first one. So we could also pay them some money to get to neutral. But I guess we're going with the heat overclocking. Get rid of this. It's the one that I can actually get rid of. And in 6 days we should be able to do this. They're disabling right now the housing district over here. That's my first protest. And with this we don't have housing right now. Housing shortage again. So they definitely did not make my city more stable. Alright. We have researched that with the lords. That's another boost. And let's go for that promise here. And yeah, I mean, seriously, it's just bad, right? Because no waste heat management at all then. And we lose this production efficiency. Yeah, it is what it is. Those people are crazy. And we'll have to deal with them quite often. A promise though we need for the foragers. The moss filtration tower. Or the bio-waste hothouse. Yeah, let's research the bio-waste hothouse. We need to research a hothouse anyway soon. This is not enough. Holy cow. Okay. If you change the law now, you will lose your current negotiation setup. Yeah, okay. It's just that, right? Yes, okay. We have too many laws, right? Or too many promises. Hmm. Ooh, that is not good. But they're the biggest faction. And even with them, it's not enough. Yeah, I need to risk it. It's going to be a super tight vote. Please do it. Oh god, yes. Boah, that was close. That would have been a real problem for us if this didn't pass now. With that, at least the Menders support is increasing again. And I could make them a promise or I could fund their projects. That's very cheap. 61 only. Let's do this. Improves my relationship with them further. And they're stopping their protest now. That's important. Ooh, that was close though. That was very close to disaster right now. And it's not getting any better from now on. But we'll tackle it. I hope you enjoyed this one. Don't forget to check out the links in the video description. And we continue onwards in the next episode of Frostpunk 2. Sleepy Hollow must prevail. Stay tuned.